Hello, hello. Hello, this is day 12. It's been a long time since I coded in Rust. So we are back with learning Rust. And yes, let's get started. Let me make sure that the stream is set up correctly. What? Yes. Cool. Perfect. Okay, so last time I was making a text editor and we'll continue from that, but we need to first pull our last changes. I am logged in already. That is good. How long has it been since I did this? Let me check my previous live stream. I did this 3 weeks ago, so almost 1 month. But I've built a new PC, by the way, so this stream will be top quality and there won't be any hiccups or any heating issues. Oh sure, okay. I need to set up SSH for my Ubuntu. Okay, let's start that. GitHub SSH. Okay, so I need to create a new SSH key and add it to my GitHub account. That will do it. But I just need to... Okay, let me hide this real quick. Okay. We go to Ubuntu, we generate the key. I'll provide my email here. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Adding your SSH key to the SSH agent. Before adding, is this Ubuntu? Oh shit, Linux. Now we'll evaluate agent PID 391. Adding your SSH private key to the SSH agent. Done. Okay, now adding a new SSH key. So we simply need to go to our settings. We go to keys, home laptop, Ubuntu laptop. Okay. So I'll add a new SSH key. And what was the step? Cat. Done. So now I might be able to pull the repositories uh, from my profile. Cool. Perfect. Let's go to my repositories, to the text editor. We do bam ssh copy, and then let me clear this real quick. Let me also create a new, okay, I can now probably show this, right? Perfect. I'll create a new directory called WIP. This stands for work in progress. If you guys are not familiar with these kinds of nerdy folder naming conventions or directory naming conventions, we go to WIP, we do a git clone, Okay, I'm back. Okay. Okay. When working with newer languages like Rust, you've probably heard a talk about idiomatic code. It's not just making your code work, it's about making it fit in with how things are typically done in the language. But why does it matter? Let's think about it this way. Imagine I told you by following this tutorial you could kill two flies with one fly swatter. For some like German, this is common to German. Killing two rabbits with one stick. Okay. Writing idiomatic code is a bit like that. It's about following the usual rules and practices in the language, making your code easy for others to read and understand. Typically, people only dive into your code when something's not working right, either because there's a bug or they want to add something new. So, making your code easy to understand helps not only your current collaborators but also your future self when it's time to debug or add more features. We'll tackle this in 3 steps, refining our code to fit in with the usual. Okay, this is taking too long, so I'll just go through the code once and maybe figure out what's happening. So uh, there is a struct editor, and then there is an implementation of that editor. Basically, we can assign some methods to a struct. We're kind of mocking class in Rust. So the default is probably the constructor, and yes, it is, because we're calling the editor struct with should quit, basically passing the parameters as false. And run is, I think, by default this function gets run when an instance of this editor is created. Self initialize unwrap. Okay, self dot initialize. So in initialize, what we are doing, we are enabling raw mode, and then we are clearing the screen, and then result equals self dot REPL. Now REPL is a function which is a loop which reads an event, basically reads a key press, and then we are calling evaluate event with that event. In evaluate event, we are matching that key event code. Basically, if you are pressing Q and if modifiers is control. So if we are pressing control and Q, then it should just return it will change the should quit to true, and then evaluate event is done. Refresh screen, what does refresh screen do? If goodbye, okay, it just does an okay, nothing else. If self dot should quit, then break, then this loop breaks if should quit is changed. Perfect. So okay, cargo clippy. What does cargo clippy do? It, I think, gives me all of the vulnerabilities in my Rust code. It's like a linter, basically, right? Yeah, there are like levels of linting, like how strict you want to be, how strict you want it to be. Either it can be very pedantic, which will point out every minute error in your code, but it can be like reasonably, you can put it to some reasonable mode, which will just point out the major errors and stuff like that. Paranoid. Okay, improved error handling. Let's wrap up our look at idiomatic code by addressing our promise about error handling. Handle locally. If we can address an error where it occurs, we'll take care of it. Pass upwards. For errors we can't fix directly, we'll pass them up the chain for further handling. Top level handling. If an error reaches the highest level, we'll manage it as gracefully as possible. As part of this, we'll separate the error handling logic from the main loop and print out a simple goodbye message. To see how this works, check out the code here. Okay. Okay, let's check the uh, e- co- improved error handling. So if I do, wait a second. How can I? Okay. So we have an editor struct if C key is Q. Okay, perfect. Self dot refresh screen. If let error. I think yeah, this question mark does the thing, right? Question mark in Rust. What is this question mark operator? As you may have noticed, Rust does not have exceptions. It has panics, but their use for error handling is discouraged. They are meant for unrecoverable errors. In Rust, error handling uses result. A typical example would be if halves, if even. Okay, do the thing. This is great because when writing the code, you cannot accidentally forget to deal with the error. When reading the code, you can immediately see that there is potential for error right there. It's less than ideal, however, in that it is very verbose. This is where the question mark operator comes in. Oh, okay. Okay, so basically it encapsulates the return type of it in a result, and that result can be either okay or an error. I think it throws a panic. I think so. It returns the error if not calling from on the error value to potentially convert it into another type. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Perfect. That's why we are using question mark here, because there is a potential to encounter error in these. Got it. So yeah, as far as I remember, I was on the assignment section. That's when I quit, right? Perfect. This is now where we'll switch sides. So far, I've been in the driver's seat showing what I did and why. Now you've seen enough Rust to grab the wheel yourself. Both Clippy and me are still there to help you. And if you don't do the assignment yourself but immediately look at the solution, then that's fine too. I will usually explain the assignment a bit and give you some pointers on how to solve them. Some assignments include a bonus. The idea here is that you should be able to figure out the code assignment by yourself with only the knowledge presented in the tutorial so far, but the bonus might be something a bit harder to reach. However, my solution will at times use alternative ways to solve something. alternative ways to solve something, or point out different ways to solve the respective problem. So make sure you check out my solutions to learn new things. It's time to start drawing. Your first task is to draw a column of tildes on the left hand side of the screen, like Vim does. In our text editor, we'll draw a tilde at the beginning of any lines that come after the end of the file being edited. Drawing means we move the cursor wherever we want to draw something. Then we print out whatever we want to draw. We didn't move the cursor previously, leading to our goodbye message being printed out somewhere in the terminal, but not on the top left. So we plan to position our cursor to the top left. Start drawing tildes one by one, and once we have reached the bottom, we'll position the cursor back into the top left corner. Take a look at the following code in Rust Playground and experiment with it. It contains a few things you might find useful for the task. Let sum size equals 10 or 20. Debug sum size. dbg. Okay, let's run this. What is happening? Okay, sum size dot 0 is 10, so it is kind of a tuple. And then for number in 0 to 10, we are doing a for loop, and we are dbg number. Okay, this is basically okay. Implement a function called draw rows. This function should print a tilde in every row. Cross term cursor moves the cursor. Cross term terminal size. Okay, perfect. So we'll insert here. What the heck? We'll say draw rows, right? Now this function should print a tilde in every row. Cross term cursor moves the cursor. Cross term terminal size. Let's also look at the documentation. So we have a cross term, right? So I'm already using cross term event, a command that moves the terminal cursor to the given position, column and row. The top left cell is represented as 0, 0. Okay. So first of all, we need to print the tildes. So for that, we can use the for loop as described by in the playground. This mosquito. There was one mosquito that was pissing me off. Okay, so for line in, let's do 10 lines. And then how do we print? Right? Print a tilde sign and /n, right? /n. This will draw all the rows. Cross term terminal size. So this is, I believe, returns the terminal size, columns and rows. Okay. You'll notice that we are doing a lot of similar things whenever we are interacting with cross term. It's time to encapsulate at least parts of the terminal in its own file. If you get stuck importing your new file into the editor, try using mod in the main.rs instead. We will investigate this together later. This should not produce any clippy warnings. Okay. For now, we'll use it in the editor. We'll keep it in the editor. So I should draw rows whenever there's a screen refresh, right? Or I can do it in initialize. So it'll be just this dot, self dot, what? Self dot draw rows. Okay. Now, if I do cargo okay. So we need to add a file. Let's call it terminal.rs. Use std. Okay, let's start with the pub struct terminal, and then impl terminal, and then we need a default. Impl terminal, and then we need a constructor. Pub fun default. Okay. Pub function default. What does it return? Self. Okay. This file is not included anywhere in the module. Okay. What is happening? Okay, so the default thing returns a terminal with an empty, like no parameters, because there is nothing here. Now I need that draw lines function here, right? So before that I need a run function. So fn draw mode draw rows, my bad, for line in 0 to 10 print tilde with a slash n, and then we need a function run. Is that the case? Pub fn run. So I can here call self dot right. We write this file, we open a terminal, I'll take some time to get along with these ski maps, man. Okay. Open horizontal terminal leader th. Leader th. Okay, nothing is being printed right now. Okay. Cool. Under the hood, cross term has used the escape sequence, the H command, to position the cursor. The H command actually takes two arguments, the row number and the column number at which to position the cursor. Okay, let's take a look at the code because I'm new to this. It's been 3 weeks, guys. So okay, they have created so inside source we have an editor.rs and then we have a terminal.rs. So inside the terminal, it is an empty. Okay. There's a terminate function, there's an initialize function, there's a clear screen, move cursor to, and size. Okay, I think I can yank this from my editor, right? Bro, what is happening? Okay. Okay, we need the terminate. We need the terminate. We need initialize. We need clear screen. We need move. Okay, move cursor to is okay. So we go to visual mode. We just scroll it down here. We will copy this, right? We'll fix the indentation here. We'll move to terminal window. And then we paste it. Okay. We also need the imports. So we'll go back there. We need this. We need execute. Okay. So we go to visual mode. We'll select these two. We copy them. We fix here, move here, and then paste. Okay. What was the undo command? U, right? Paste here. What? Undo. Insert. Paste. Cool. So in initialize, what we are doing, we are enabling raw mode, self clear screen, and self clear screen can also return an error. So we do that, and then move cursor to. So we write a pub fun move cursor to. And by the way, all of these functions will be now public because we'll be calling them from editor Rust file. So I'll make them public quickly. And then in move cursor to, I'll take two arguments x and y. These are the row number and column number to which the cursor should go to. Result stdio error, execute std out, move to. This should take x and y. Execute std out, so standard output, and bam. Okay. In clear screen, we are executing std out, clear type all. We don't need this line, and this can return an error, so we'll go to that. Okay. And then in initialize, what we need to do is we are clearing the screen. Now we need to move the cursor also. So self move cursor to 0 and 0. This can return an error. Okay. Okay. So still draw rows method is not uh, hmm. Also there is no default, so we'll go ahead and remove that as well. So if I do with 3dd, or should I do? Cool. Now there are a lot of changes in the editor.rs. Now the default will be a const. Why is that? Let's see why this guy has done that. Here we say that we want to make the module terminal known. Rust looks either for terminal mod.rs or terminal.rs in the directory named after the current module. So it looks in editor and finds editor/terminal.rs. Had we put terminal.rs alongside editor.rs, Rust will still have looked for editor/terminal.rs and would not have found it. Okay, so we need to move some files, man. So we do here. What? Leader O. Okay. So we need to add a module here named editor. What? Inside this editor, we need to put this terminal.rs. So if I do an X here and then paste in editor, directories end with a okay, and then we paste it here, right? We copy, cut basically, and paste. Has home, yeah, we have the terminal here. Perfect. These two changes here are not terribly substantial, but I'm going to explain them anyway. The change from editor to self just removes the redundancy of mentioning the struct name here. Would I rename the struct from editor to something else, I would now have less place to change. The change from const is a subtle one. It enables this function to be evaluated on compile time. Since this function does nothing more than initializing a very simple struct, it can be const function. Not making this a const function has no practical implications here. We just do it because it's slightly better. Okay, perfect. No worries, no worries. So pub const is done, and in here I can, instead of returning an editor, I can return a self because that's the same thing. What's next? In the run function, Let's go to the run function. There is no run function, brother. Yeah, there is. My bad. So instead of self, we need the terminal. And this terminal comes from where? Mod terminal. Use terminal code. Instead of this self, terminal. And then initial that thing is gone. Let event equals event read self dot evaluate. Okay, now what we are doing, we are first we need to switch the order here a bit, because we want the screen to refresh before we wait for the first key press. The screen to refresh before exiting the program, so that the user sees our nice farewell message. Okay. And the refresh screen we call in refresh screen, instead of self clear screen, it will be now terminal. Print goodbye else self what self draw rows terminal move cursor to 0 0. Now in draw rows can return a result of something or an error. So here we are calculating the height. Let height equals terminal size. If the height is 10 rows, we will enter this loop 10 times, ranging from, so in current rows, highest value will be height minus 1 dot 1. I have no clue, bro. For current row, okay, now instead of current row in 0 to height, what do? Print this. If current row plus 1 is less than height, we will stay below height as explained. We need to add 1 to determine if we are at the bottom. Okay. If current row plus 1 is less than height. Print I'm not getting the terminal thing, man. I'll install Tmux after the stream. Tmux is way better. Terminal. Leader th. Leader th. Leader th. Ah, okay. Nothing is happening. Hmm. 4 line in 0 to 10. What? I can do a 5dd. Use parentheses to call this function. Execute std out. Okay. What? Is this not written? Yes, baby. Yup. So I have tildes in front, but there are very less. Since the initial height of the terminal depends, it depends on the initial height of the terminal, which might be 10 or 9, and that's how many the tildes will be printed. Okay, cool. So what did we learn today? We learned about some modularization. So if we are using a mod in any file, it should be that file should be present in the folder of the same uh, name, say, right, in the directory of the same name as the file in which we are trying to mod it. So that's one lesson here. Under the hood, crossterm has used the escape sequence, the h command, to position the cursor. The h actually takes two arguments, the row number and the column number, at which the position the cursor. So if you have an 80 by 24 size terminal and you want the cursor in the center of the screen, you could use the command this. Multiple arguments are separated by okay. Under the hood, I don't care. I do care, but I don't care that much. So it's all right. So yeah, tomorrow we'll see the types in Rust. Okay, we'll just update the link to types, and yep, this was it for today. Thank you for watching if anyone is here. So yeah, that's it guys. Thanks.